Bonjour and dinaway mugger duck, and it's not bay duck, and whatever duck. And okay, my god, boy indigo. Okay, Ojibwe sentence time here. I wrote this a couple days ago. Giizhakidoodaa, gimadoodisoninaan, jibwaa-maajibiisaag. So once again, Giizhakidoodaa, gimadoodisoninaan, jibwaa-maajibiisaag. Maajibiisaag. So that last part, jibwaa-maajibiisaag, before it rains. It's inanimate and transitive because you're just describing an inanimate occurrence. Because weather is inanimate in our language. And that's a subordinate clause because before it rains, you need more information. Like, why are you saying before it rains? And I'm describing that first because it's always, the Anishinaabe moan and Shaganashi moan are always usually inverted. So, and then the first part, Giizhakidoodaa, that means let's finish setting something up. Giizhakidoon is the root word, but I inflected it for Ginowind, let's do something, meaning we inclusive, meaning including the speakers and who the speakers is speaking for and everybody else present. In this instance, maybe the ones not present too, maybe they got spirit helpers, because they are setting up a sweat lodge after all. So, Madoodisonin is all the northern Minnesota people and into Canada say sweat lodge. Then that gi and that inaan, that prefix and that suffix, those affixes are Ginowan possession of something inanimate because the sweat lodge is inanimate in our language. So that's how it's possessed for Ginowan, we inclusive, first person plural and inclusive. And that's a possessed noun for Ginowan, our sweat lodge. So I'm just imploring that it's just a sentence saying that before it rains, let's finish setting up our sweat lodge. Because that would be useful if you seen a cloud in the sky far off, and and it gets to you that yeah, maybe you should finish up what you're doing before it rains. For me, I always like to learn the language, but when I read a word in the Ojibwe People's Dictionary, I just don't read their sentences that they have along with the words. I make my own sentences in order to incorporate the grammatical structure of the language into my head. I do have help from an Ojibwe professor in Minnesota, but also the main architect of my understanding of grammar is Dr. John Nichols. I think he's a retired professor from University of Minnesota. It's his grammar grids that show me the inflections of how our language is inflected. Dr. John Nichols. I think that was from his 1980 Ojibwe morphology PhD thesis at Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He's one of the most important linguists that left a trail for us to learn our language. Because when he mapped out the affixes of our language, the inflections of our language, and him and Dr. Rand Valentine, these are extremely useful documents and grids, and whatever they wrote and whatever books they wrote are extremely useful for us to understand the complexity of our language. And that's how I learn, and then but I run it by fluent speakers and by my Ojibwe professor PhD buddy. So, and for me, the language is just always inherent. I always want to learn it every day. It's I think a lot of it has to do since Mother's Day now. It's past midnight where I am, and I come out of the womb of an Anishinaabe Kwe. So that's how come I feel that I have it in me to want to learn our language. And plus, it's just the beauty of how our people speak and spoke, Because I come from Medeoan lineage. My great-great-grandfather, Kitchen Donakobijigani, Bun Joseph Bird, he lived in Wayway Sakapo. He was the head of the Medeoan Society. He's the one that was the head man in that lodge. So I have a strong feeling about the language due to my lineage. I'm sorry.